Hi there. Today we're going to talk about a new kind of lamp. It's the one that is spreading the light of the Lord in south central Los Angeles. Stay with us. Our guest today is the woman who turns on the lamp I talked about. That's LAMP, L-A-M-P, and it stands for Los Angeles Mission Project. And her name is Diana Pinto, and we welcome you here today. So let's get started by having you tell us how you got started in this kind of work.
Thank you for having me here, by the way.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
South Central Lamp was started for women and children, and I have worked in the nonprofit world, I would say, my whole life. I think I was very lucky to have people in my life help me and my family. So I always thought I wanted to give back. And I started in the nonprofit world working with children. And as I kind of grew older, I started realizing that in order to really make a change in a child's life, you had to start with their mothers. And that's how I started at South Central Lamp. I was the family advocate and the parenting teacher. So I was the one going on home visits, doing intake, seeing what was the need. And then we did a lot of parenting classes and workshops. It was a really great opportunity. I really enjoyed that opportunity.
How did you prepare for that yourself?
I went to school, believe it or not. I got my degree in history, but in grassroots nonprofit organizations. And I was able to see just the reality of what nonprofits do for the community. They're a really big part of supporting the community. And I went to school and I got a lot of experience working with young people and families. And then I went to South Central Lamp to do the exact same thing, but it was almost like a one-on-one opportunity.
Yeah. So what prompted you? There's some decision point in your life. When did that point come?
Well, when I was growing up, we were very poor. I grew up in Los Angeles, and there was a time in our lives that both my mom and my stepfather lost their jobs. There was no food in the home. And my mom, I remember seeing her, and it was really hard. I mean, I must have been like 8 years old and watching her as she cried, trying to figure out, where are we going to buy food, or are we going to pay rent? And that really, I think, affected me in seeing how much people need support. Just sometimes they're just emergencies and you just need to find a way to get that help. And we had this amazing person who was very kind to us. One of them was my aunt, who would bring boxes of food to us to make sure that we had food in the home. So my mom didn't have to worry about buying food and we could pay rent. And then another one was one of my mom's bosses who, when she saw my mom struggling, just gave her a check for $5,000 and said, here, let's find a way to, help you. Especially this was like in the 90s, $5,000 was a big gift. And this is from my mom's employer, and my mom cleaned houses. So it was just, to me, this was such generosity, such kindness. And I thought, this is what I want to do, because I'm lucky to be here because someone was kind to me. And I think that's what we have to do for other people too.
Were your parents from an immigrant family?
Yes, they were. My stepfather was from El Salvador and my mom was from Guatemala. And so we were, she had been here. We'd been here for about 10 years. She'd been here for about 10 years. And unfortunately, it was during the time where, he worked in construction. My mom was a nanny for a family. And just with bad luck, they both lost their jobs. And they were trying to make it, and they couldn't. It was very difficult.
So this work that you're doing now is kind of deja vu.
It's a little bit of it, yeah. We see a lot of I see a lot of the same struggles in the families that we serve. They are immigrant families, just like my family was. They are just trying to seek a better life for their children and for themselves. And they do this, they work so many hours. They try to do it the best they can, but sometimes we just need a little bit of help. Nobody makes it on their own. Nobody. We've all had some kind of support. So I think that's what South Central LAMP is for these families, that extra support.
You have a mission statement?
We do. Our mission is to work with women and their children and help them build their skills and their advocacy support so that they can go on and work with their children as well.
Isn't there also a LAMP project for men?
Yes, and we're actually not associated with them.
understand, yeah.
Yeah, so we're Los Angeles Ministry Project. We were started after LAMP, the one that is the homeless for men. And I think when the sisters were creating the agency, they saw a little bit of that, so that's why they put the South Central before LAMP. Yeah.
Like, let you stand out.
Yes.
Now, it says South Central, but really, how far out do you reach?
Well, a lot of the families that we serve come walking distance, but definitely we don't ask where you're coming from. Anywhere you want to come from, you can come and be part of our program. It's absolutely free of charge, and their children are in the program, and the mothers are in the program. We've had families come from really far away. If they can drive, they'll get there, but we never ask, like, are you from South Central? Anyone is welcome. Yeah.
You have a central point of operation.
Yeah, we only have one site, so it's on 48th and Central. And it's a small agency. We had been in another location, but we ended up moving to that space because it was a little bit bigger and it was easier so that we could have classrooms for each of the children age groups.
I understand you have a number of programs. The children's program, for example.
Yes.
What do you offer?
So we have an early childhood education program, and it is not daycare or childcare. It has a curriculum. There are teachers in the classroom, and we do that because we know that children who have quality preschool are more likely to graduate high school and go on and do well in their school. And then we also have the parenting class, which is, we have a lot of workshops that are part of the community. We understand that the mother is not just a mother, she's a woman. So she has questions. She has health questions, mental health questions. So we partner with a lot of different agencies and have them come in and talk to the mothers about this. Also about the development of their children. Is this normal? Sometimes you don't have anyone to ask. And I know that for me, when I had my daughter, I had a lot of questions. I didn't know, is this normal? Should she be walking? Should she be talking? But I was lucky enough to have Google and to be able to, check out books and look at all this stuff and ask my mom. And some of these women, these families don't have other family here. So that's what we do at LAMP with them.
Are those children programs, do they mix play with
Oh,
teaching
absolutely.
and all that
Yeah,
kind?
play is a big part of it. That's how they learn. They what we call play, really is learning. They're doing experiments. They're trying to figure out if A plus B equals C, then let me do it backwards and see what that looks like.
Some of these other programs, besides parenting and children's programs, ESL?
Yes, we have English as a second language, and we are very lucky to have Sister Kathy Garcia, who is Religious Sacred Heart of Mary. She's our coordinator. And in our English as a second language, one of the things that I really like is that we teach a lot of the words that you need in order to advocate for yourself at the doctor's office, at your child's school, at the mechanic, if you need that, anywhere. And so, but Sister Kathy Garcia just takes it a step further, and she absolutely teaches the moms how to advocate for themselves as women. She's just got this mission to make sure that every woman understands how valuable they are. And so that's what she does with the classes and with the program too.
And if there is a family problem, families are separated, or if there's domestic violence and things like that, do you have means to deal with the husbands, the boyfriends, stuff like that? How do you do that?
Well, we have a family advocate that also does the parenting classes. Our family advocate does home visits too. So she goes to the home and sees, asks them questions, things that maybe the mother isn't comfortable saying in class. We also do office visits if that's what they want. Our family advocate does a really great job of getting the information of what's happening in the home. Is there enough food? Do you need help with rent? Just all the types of questions that you would want to ask in order to support the family. And sometimes there have been issues like that with the husband. And I have to tell you, the mothers make me laugh because they're so smart. They ask for the family advocate to come and do the visit right when their husband is getting home. So that the family visit is with everyone.
It's tough for them to duck.
Oh my goodness.
You want your dinner, you're going to have to put up with
We're
this.
going to all have a conversation now. And so it's been a really great experience. I have to tell you, there have been situations where the husbands are not really excited about their wives being part of our program at first. But as the women start becoming comfortable and confident in themselves, and you see that they are becoming advocates for their children, they go to the schools, they talk to the teachers, they're using their language, English as a second language. The dads start realizing this is a great opportunity. Like, now we have someone in the home that knows about our child and also knows the language, and it's a really big support. But I think at first it's a little hard for some of the dads.
Is that reluctance cultural?
I would say it is, yes. I think it's cultural. I think it's also, sometimes they're new to our country and they're not really sure what's happening, what kind of program this is. And so there is that concern that what happens next. And so I think when the mothers start connecting, that it's not about the dynamics of like husband and wife, it's really the dynamics of a woman, and it's also the dynamics of a mother. So I think the husbands start understanding this is a really great opportunity for my wife to kind of come home. And I've talked to so many dads who have told me, my wife, I love how comfortable she is with herself. Because for a really long time, so many of the moms are really nervous and scared and timid, and they don't want to ask questions. When they first come into the program, I noticed that sometimes they're very shy. They won't look at you in the eye. They haven't built that confidence. And so by the end of the program, they're just so much more confident in themselves.
How many people would come through your system, as it were, let's say in a month?
Well, our program is actually, it's a literacy program, so we have a whole year with them. Mm-hmm. We have up to about 40 women in a year and about 57 kids. So if they want to stay with us the whole year, they can stay with us. If they want to do the 3-year program, which is then after 3 years they graduate, those 3 levels of English, and they've done parenting for 3 years, then they can graduate from our program. So at any given time, we'll have about 45 women in the program and 57 kids. And that's just for our family literacy program. And then we have a food distribution program every Wednesday. And that's for the whole community to come in and
I want to talk to you about that. So stick with us. Diana Pinto is here from LAMP. We'll be learning more about that.
There are times we are joyful and happy. There are also times when we are sad and depressed. Sometimes we laugh. Sometimes we cry. Sometimes we become angry. Sometimes we are calm and reflective. Yes, we are emotional people. Often we express our emotions loud and clear, but sometimes we suppress and keep them to ourselves. Our wounded emotions need to be healed to enable us to live normally. We want to offer you a book written by Father Martin Padovani, SVD. It is called Healing Wounded Emotions. Father Martin is a marriage counselor, and this book is the result of his many years of experience. Some of the topics he deals with in this book are anger with other people, anger with ourselves, and even anger with God. But what about forgiveness? Forgiveness of someone that has hurt us, and even forgiveness of ourselves. Then there is the emotion of depression. We know that today there are many who are living with the shadow of depression, and they do not know how to get out of it. Father Martin gives practical solutions to deal with our wounded emotions. So get your copy today. Surely you will be doing yourself a favor. Or maybe you know someone who needs a copy.
Call the number on the screen or email us. You can also get it through our website. Know your emotions and live them to the full. This book will surely give you the peace that you were looking for.
We're back with Diana Pinto. She's the director of LAMP, L-A-M-P, Los Angeles Mission Project. And they have a number of programs, including a food pantry, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about now. I've had experience with that, and I know it is a tremendous job trying to get people who culturally rely on limited kinds of diets, not as healthy as they might be. Mm-hmm. How do you manage to get them used to good food, nutrition, and how to prepare it?
Well, we are really lucky to partner with St. Francis Center. They're a really huge food pantry in Los Angeles, and we're a satellite for them. And they do an excellent job in making sure that they're bringing different foods for the community. But I think St. Francis Center does a really great job of actually printing out different recipes for you to use. And I think that's great, because the truth is we want to expose our community to different foods that are healthy. The other thing that we do in our early childhood education program is we have warm meals for the kids. And one of the things we do is we expose them to different foods, which is sometimes hard. Nobody likes brown rice. No, it's too hard. But we have a really great person we work with, and they do a great job of making like teriyaki chicken with the brown rice, so the kids don't even know that it's brown rice at first. And so it's a great way of them getting that texture and really kind of becoming comfortable with that food, so that they're eating a little bit healthier at home.
A lot of people confuse brown rice and fried rice.
Right.
Well, it's brown.
It's brown and it's delicious. Yeah.
Where does the food come from?
St. Francis actually does a really great job of partnering with other agencies. They work with the food bank, and they also work with other agencies that bring the food over, or they collect food from different places like Ralph's and supermarkets that are not going to be using that food, or they have way too much of something. So they also work with Trader Joe's. Like, one of the things we do is we have a nutrition class that was a series, and the truth is that one time doesn't change habits. You have to keep talking about it over and over and over. And for so many of our families and us as well, one small habit is a huge difference.
How many volunteers do you have? With the client load you have, and the work that you're doing, classes and referral, how many people help?
Well, actually, we have a small staff in a sense, like really, because our budget really goes to program mostly, it all goes to staff. The biggest group is our early childhood education, because we have children. We have to make sure that they're safe. And so we have a couple of interns that help us. And then during our food distribution is really when we get about 10 to 15 volunteers a week. And in all honesty, some of those volunteers were graduates from our program. So it's the mothers who left our program giving back. And I am so proud, because they are leaders in their community. That's really what we want. We want them to become leaders in their community and feel comfortable to be in a place and say, let me help. And so that's what they do. They come every week. They kind of guide everything and tell us where everything is going to go. And then during Christmas, we'll have a celebration, and we'll have volunteers then. During our camp, we do this thing called Camp Lamp during the summer, and it's a family camp for mom and child, and we'll have volunteers then too. So I would say in a year, we'll have about maybe 100 volunteers.
I like that idea of camp.
Yeah.
With a parent going to camp with you?
Yes. And we do it on site, because we know that so many, it's expensive, and so many of them feel a little nervous about leaving home. And so we want the mothers to understand what camp is and feel that experience, so that later on they're comfortable with their children experiencing camp experiences. And so it's a lot of fun. We do themes. One year we had superhero. One year we had, STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And then we have volunteers come in and do classes with them, and we do a lot of field trips. One of the things that we found was that a lot of our community is not able to get out of the community, and we kind of want them to experience other areas so that they know there are so much out there that they can do. I always tell people that when I was growing up, I was really lucky that I got to go on field trips to museums, and that really made me want to work at a museum, just learn all these things. But I think that had I not been exposed to that, I wouldn't have recognized that there's a world out there that's not just teachers and school and home and a nurse, and just something outside of it, so we can be scientists and chemists. And so that's why we do our camp lamp, so that that the kids can see all this, and we do that with the moms, so the moms can see that and can dream big for their kids too.
So these are on-site camps. Mom and child come to the Lamp Center, and you have camp there.
Yeah, so the kids go into their classrooms, depend on their age, and they're working with a teacher or a volunteer there, and they're doing projects. And then the mom actually works with our parent teacher, and they're doing things. And then they're doing like activities that are camp-like, so that they can actually repeat some of these activities at home with their kids if they want to. And then what we do is right about an hour of each day, we'll bring them together, and then mom and child will do activities together, so that they're able to, mom teaches child how to do some of the things that we're doing. And it's really neat. One of the things we really want them to do is, we know that you don't have to have a lot of money to teach your children. You use the things that you have at home. So part of our program, Early Childhood Education, Parenting ESL, but we also have another program called Parent-Child Interactive Literacy Activities, which we use PACILA, which is just shorter. But what it is, it's like a Mommy and Me, but it's focused on literacy. And so they do a lot of activities that they can do at home that doesn't cost money. Things like, for example, how you get those flyers of, these sales, Vons, Ralph's, all the food. So one of the literacy activities they can do is take the flyers and have the children, while mom is cooking, the child can be circling everything that's red, or everything that starts with an R, or everything that starts with an L. And so these are all literacy activities that they're practicing at home. We also do cooking activities, so have the child measuring, because that's math. So it's kind of this opportunity to bring mom with child, so that mom knows that she is her child's first teacher and her child's biggest advocate.
I imagine that would be a big help with vocabulary too. All of the things in a flyer.
Absolutely, and that's part of what we're trying to do, build the children's vocabulary. Many of the kids are English language learners, so it means that the first language at home is not English. So we know that most children that are English language learners start with fewer English words when they start kindergarten. That doesn't mean they don't know words, that just means they don't know as many English words. So they have to catch up to their peers who might only have one language in the home. So that's what we're trying to build, their English skills, and so many opportunities. So, once the moms know these tricks, they'll do it while they're waiting for the bus. They're like, what letter is that? Or where, what color? And so you're practicing literacy. The other thing that I think is one of my favorite is storytelling. Storytelling is literacy, and our mothers have so many stories that they can share about growing up. And that just goes back to, you don't need money. You don't need a huge amount of money to be able to change the course of your child's life when it comes to these things. We have libraries, we have, storytelling, we have music.
I can see that there seems to be a motivating force that is stronger than any other you've talked about. And that is what this program does for children and family. There are the hard facts about the law, immigration status, and all of that stuff. But much more important, that at least from what I've heard you say, is what the children, because they're the next generation, and they can give back to the generation after that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think about my life, and I am the child of these mothers that we serve. The mothers remind me of my mom. And so, I grew up, I had supports. There was kindness in my life, and now I get to give it back too. So I think their children are going to be the same way too.
Holistic. You know that word? Tell me about the holistic approach to it.
So the holistic approach for us is that we understand that the mothers we serve are women, and that means that we have to address the various needs in their life. And the program itself has to understand that there are various needs in the family's life. So a lot of programs will focus on literacy, right? You know, we're going to do literacy, these are the activities. But if a family doesn't have money to pay rent, then literacy is the last thing they're thinking about.
But it's probably the most important thing you're thinking about.
Right.
All right. We're going to be back with some final words in just a minute with Diana Pinto, who has a pretty tough job, but I'm sure she's doing the best that she can and bringing out the best in other people who do that as well. So let's say a little prayer. And I have it written right on the back of this right here. I thought it was clever. A lamp unto my feet, leading me to help my fellow man. With God, that lamp is always lit. All you have to do is go towards the light. Thank you, Diana.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure having you with us. All you out in TV land, don't forget to support the ministry. What we're doing here is, well, our way of reaching families and children, people in need. People need God more than they need a banana. Maybe. Forget that. Always remember, let God make you smile. That's the watchword. And your motto is?
Kindness can change a person's life.
I know that to be a fact. God bless you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here.
Oh, what a pleasure.
There are times we are joyful and happy. There are also times when we are sad and depressed. Sometimes we laugh. Sometimes we cry. Sometimes we become angry. Sometimes we are calm and reflective. Yes, we are emotional people. Often we express our emotions loud and clear, but sometimes we suppress and keep them to ourselves. Our wounded emotions need to be healed to enable us to live normally. We want to offer you a book written by Father Martin Padovani, SVD. It is called Healing Wounded Emotions. Father Martin is a marriage counselor, and this book is the result of his many years of experience. Some of the topics he deals with in this book are anger, anger with other people, anger with ourselves, and even anger with God. But what about forgiveness? Forgiveness of someone that has hurt us, and even forgiveness of ourselves. Then there is the emotion of depression. We know that today there are many who are living with the shadow of depression, and they do not know how to get out of it. Father Martin gives practical solutions to deal with our wounded emotions. So get your copy today. Surely you will be doing yourself a favor. Or maybe you know someone who needs a copy.
Call the number on the screen or email us. You can also get it through our website. Know your emotions and live them to the full. This book will surely give you the peace that you were looking for.